What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. I'll talk about some very key levels to watch for as time develops, what's going on with some things that Donald Trump said before that's still affecting the markets, what you should be watching for in the charts moving forward. Just know that I'm not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total, and the offer ends at the end of March. Anyways, as far as the market's going, as you could see, SPY is making lower highs and lower lows quite consistently. We tried to gap up this morning, but we're struggling to hold up. So there is likely going to be a downside move coming. But whether or not we see a big downside move, or it's just small and we try to rebound, depends on some data that's coming out. So we'll talk about that in just a second. Just know that as far as the market's going, there's still a lot of fear right now, especially after what Donald Trump mentioned yesterday. He did not deny that there could be a recession this year, even under his leadership, saying that it's going to be a period of transition. He mentioned that it's very necessary, and he thinks that this could cause a change in economic policies. So keep that in mind. There's still a lot of fear amidst that news about a recession that could be coming. And as the fear perpetuates, it could be affecting the way this market moves. We're still seeing the VIX being very elevated, at least for now. And we did mention this yesterday that there is still more downside potential in this market. Until we get to CPI, we'll see if that changes things or not. So be very open minded. Anyways, today is Tuesday, March 11th, 2025 at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 30 minutes after the stock market opens. We have the JOLTS job openings and job quits reports. These could cause some volatility, so get ready for them. So I'd recommend being very careful once this data comes out. So we'll see if this causes the market to try to see a temporary bounce or not, or if the jobs numbers cause the market to get a rug pull. So make sure you're prepared for this just to be safe. In terms of news, the market saw a sea of red, lots and lots of red yesterday, as we saw one of the worst days since September of 2022. Also, there's a lot of protests for Tesla out there across the United States, and also in Europe, we're seeing lots of people trying to boycott their Teslas. Not the best of news. Elon Musk did mention that, he was basically stressed out. He pretty much implied that it's very hard for him to be managing Doge, SpaceX, Tesla at once. So, not the best of news to hear that, especially when Tesla wants to have just one CEO, and our CEO is just all over the place. So that's something worth mentioning. There's also a lot of talk about how the Chinese sales are doing relatively well for companies like BYD and such, and Tesla's doing poorly. I'm seeing lots of news headlines just saying that. I'm not saying I like this company or not. I'm just here to say that I want to be unbiased about that. I don't really like comparing these companies, but that's kind of like what's going on. Nothing else is too crazy. I did see that Nissan is going to be looking at their CEO that's stepping down, and they may have to get a new one. So important news so far. Just wanted to call all of that out. Two more things. This is what earnings looks like. We have Kohl's and more retail for today. Everything is quite minor. We had Oracle announce their earnings yesterday, but they came short on EPS and revenue expectations, so not the best of news for them. Anyways, that's enough about the news. Let's focus on these charts now. So what do I think is going to pan out from this point on? Well, what I'm anticipating is that we're going to be looking to see if 560 holds. If not, I think we could be visiting this low again, and that needs to hold us. Otherwise, we could be dipping to about 550 as our next potential target. So that's like the more bearish case. But then if we basically kind of like dip like this and see us hold the low, if we can make a higher low compared to this low at 555, then this could try some kind of rebound move like this. So it all depends. I do anticipate a little bit of a dip that's coming. So look for a small dip upon open back down to the 550s. If we lose 555, we're looking for a bigger dip to 550. If we make a higher low, we could try to rebound. For now, we're going to be looking for a small decline. I also want to add that as time goes on, as we see a small decline in SPY, watch to see what happens with the JOLTS numbers. That could cause a bounce. So we'll see. So be very patient nonetheless. But anyways, I do anticipate a little bit of a dip here. So get ready for a dippy move, and we'll see if we bounce off 555 or not. But get ready for that upon open. Same thing with the QQQ, still kind of dippy looking. Um, we have this imbalance over here around 468. If that fails us, I'm looking for like 465 or below. Might be looking for a small dip, and we'll see if we bounce, if we can make a higher low or not. So look for some downside move like this. If this low holds, we could attempt some kind of rebound temporarily. If not, if we lose this low, not going to be a good sign. We could continue to decline like this. It depends on if the low holds, but I do expect this to kind of dip a little bit, and we'll see what the reaction is depending on the jobs numbers. So just keep that in mind. We'll look for a downside move upon open. Same thing with the Russell 2000. The same thing is essentially going on, especially as we have this imbalance over here. This could be dipping closer to about 200. We'll see if we bounce off that or not. If we lose that, we could be dipping all the way down towards like 197 again. I think this dips to the low 200s, and we'll see if we bounce. But for now, there's some downside momentum. Same thing with ES. Okay, so we could be dipping as well. We have three things worth watching if you're kind of like scalping this. There's 5600, 5585, and then there's 5550 as three very, very big levels. I wouldn't be surprised if we do dip towards at least the 5580 area. We might be seeing like a small decline, but then we'll see if we bounce off that or not. That's going to be very important for us, at least moving forward. So just keep that in mind. That's what we're essentially going to be looking at, especially as time goes on, because it's a very volatile market. There's a lot going on right now, and we'll have to see. So we can be looking for this imbalance to be filled back down here for a small downside move, and we'll see if we bounce, if we make a higher low. If we lose this low at 55.50, then we're going to be even more bearish. So just keep that in mind. If we like lose this low right over here, then I'm going to be looking for further declines to 5,500 flat. So it depends. NQ, we could be dipping as well on NQ just a little bit. Small dip could be coming. We'll see if we bounce, if we make a higher low here. If we lose the low, it's going to be bearish to continue to dump like this, depending on the jobs numbers. Bitcoin is looking kind of dippy. I think 80,000 flats could be tested, and we'll see what kind of like reaction we get off of that. So just keep that in mind. We're still looking kind of dippy, at least for here. So it could cause a small dip move. When it comes to Nvidia, we're making lower highs and lower lows. We could also be dipping closer to about 105. If that fails us, the low 100s could be coming. We'll see if we bounce or not. You want to see Nvidia reclaim 111 to bounce. If not, it's still technically a little bit more bearish looking. But if we could get back above 111, then yes, this will try some kind of rebound move. Otherwise, for now, it looks a little bit more bearish. So keep that in mind. Tesla's kind of weak. We could be dipping to 220 if that fails us. We're looking for 215, 212, and then 205 as our supports. Might be dipping towards this low again. We'll see if we bounce or not, but it still looks kind of bearish to me. Apple's looking a little bit weak. Going to be looking for 225 or so. If that does not hold us, I see an imbalance down here around 222. Unless we get back above 230, we still favor downside. Let me go over just a few more. Coinbase still kind of weak here. I would like to see this try to get back or at least hold 180. If it doesn't, there's a gap down here at 179. We also have like 176. Might dip first, and we'll see what kind of reaction we get. Amazon is kind of in the middle. We're making lower highs and lower lows. We could be dipping towards like 192, and we'll see what kind of move we make. So I want to see if the low 190s hold. So we're going to be looking for some kind of downside move. We'll see what the reaction happens to be. Meta is showing resilience. If we can reclaim 600, it's going to be a good sign. Might dip first towards like, the low 590s, maybe below that. But then if we could reclaim 600, it's going to be a good sign. So it might be like a dip in a bounce that could be coming on this. This is showing some resilience so far. Microsoft as well. I just want to see if we could hold 376. If not, we could be dumping a lot more. If we hold that, we could be looking for a bounce. Google as well. We could be making a higher low here. So if it does dip towards 166, this could attempt some kind of rebound move. If we break past 168, we're looking for an attempt to bounce. So I want to see if we can make higher lows here. So give this the time it needs. Anyways, the VIX remains bullish. This looks like it could try to push a little bit more, and that tends to be bearish for the markets. So I think that the market is going to likely see a little downside move when we open, but whether or not we lose our lows from yesterday, if that happens, we're going to be more bearish. Or if we don't, if we make a higher low, it depends on this data. So I'm going to be waiting on this. So be very patient in this market. Let's see what happens when the data is out at 10 o'clock a.m. Until then, I want to thank you all so much for listening. I'll be back with another upload in a couple of hours. Until then, take care and peace out.